Let's bring in Laurel Lee, Florida congresswoman-elect representing District 15. She's also the former Florida Secretary of State. So, Ms. Lee, thanks for being here, jumping in right away. How do you strike the balance between oversight and overreach?
Well, both of those objectives are critical. To be sure, it is time for Republicans to seize the opportunity to talk about our policy agenda and what conservative leadership means in Congress. And absolutely, we are prepared to do that. There's a very detailed policy agenda that includes economic checks and balances on the Biden administration, an economy that's strong, a nation that's safe, a government that's accountable. But at the same time, I can tell you from speaking to my constituents that they want answers to a lot of the critical issues that we've seen come up during the Biden administration. So as the new Republican majority, I think we need to do both. Focus on those policy issues, but also ensure that we're asking the right questions and holding the Biden administration accountable.
And also in terms of policy making, because the people want that as well, how can the Republican-led House come out strong? I mean, what policies should you prioritize in terms of bringing issues to the table that can make the lives of everyday Americans better?
Well, I think it begins with the economy. Voters across the country are feeling the effects of the Biden administration's reckless spending and reckless economic policies. So we need to begin by focusing there and ensuring that we curb excessive and wasteful government spending and also develop tax and regulatory policies that actually support businesses and economic growth. So without question, Republicans are prepared to do that and really look forward to having the opportunity to showing the American people what a difference it can make to have principled conservative leaders in Congress.
And how might the behavior of the House over the next 2 years impact the 2024 presidential race?
Well, really in both of those ways. To begin, I think it is important that we take this opportunity to really demonstrate what a difference it will make to put a stop to some of the reckless spending. Just this week, we saw Joe Biden again with student loan policy that makes no sense for Americans and more fundamentally is absolutely devoid of consideration for basic separation of powers. The Biden administration is attempting to do through unelected bureaucrats that which belongs in Congress. Major questions, policy questions, and spending should always be done in Congress. So it gives us an opportunity to put a stop to that inappropriate effort by the Biden administration to do administratively that which they have no constitutional authority to do. It's also a key issue for voters in my area that we focus on the southern border and the Biden administration failure to secure that border. Every day we see unchecked illegal immigration, which is empowering the cartels, not just to bring in deadly fentanyl, which is coming into all of our communities in America, but also as a former prosecutor, I can speak to the travesty that is human trafficking, which is happening every day at our southern border. So as Americans and as leaders in Congress, we need to be focused on doing everything possible to put an end to these types of policies and secure that southern border.
Indeed. And how do you do that?
Well, I think it begins clearly with an investigation of Secretary Mayorkas. We saw earlier this week Speaker-designate McCarthy and Republican colleagues down on the southern border really shining a light on some of the issues and challenges that we have down there. It is absolutely time for Secretary Mayorkas to be accountable for his decisions, indecisions, and failures to come up with a border policy that will keep our country secure. We also have individuals on the terror watch list who are coming across our border, unaccountable here in our country.
Sure.
So it's posing a threat to every community.
And I totally understand your points, but for the sake of time here, I want you to tell me, you have to get to the bottom of what's going wrong, but how do you make it right? Because a lot is going wrong in terms of policy, and I know you need to investigate, but in the meantime, you've got thousands of people coming across the border every day, and the fentanyl, they're capturing some of it. We have to admit that they're capturing some of the fentanyl, but a lot of it is getting into our communities too much. So again, what's the immediate, fix to stop the flow?
Well, I think the immediate fix is this. It's quite simple. We are a nation of laws, and we need to ensure that everywhere in America those laws are being followed. So right from day one, there needs to be transparency about this administration and what they have been doing and the decisions that they've been making. I hear every day from constituents in my district that they want answers. We have not just an opportunity but an obligation to ensure that the American people get the truth about what's going on at our southern border, and that we put a stop to any efforts that is not compliant with our existing laws and policies.
And finally, you are now former Secretary of State of Florida.
Yes.
So when will your former boss, Governor DeSantis, announce his run for the White House?
Well, I'll say this. It was an incredible privilege to get to work as a senior part of the DeSantis administration, and I am so proud of the policy objectives that we were able to advance and work on together. He is an incredibly talented leader, and certainly in Florida, we're all very proud of our strong conservative leaders and looking forward to what the future brings.
So how long do we wait?
Well, time will tell. Time will tell. We're very proud of our bench here. We've got a lot of great leaders coming from Florida, and I know that we're all very much looking forward to seeing what the future holds.
All right, so you're not going to tell me when he's going to announce. All right, well, maybe you'll come back and tell me, Congresswoman-elect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.